Hi everybody, Lee here today. We're gonna just do a little weapons practice with 4 different weapons. Do your own kind of warm up, and if you do have a pole, by all means follow along. Just have to find my pole one moment. Just a nice, easy, slow practice. This would be a forward cartwheel that I would land, turn around. Put that way, put that away for a little bit. Actually, maybe I will do just a little bit of a warm up. I'll do a yoga sun salutation warm up would be a good idea. I'm gonna get a drink of water just to clear up my throat. It's been really dry and warm here lately. Cheers. Always keep breathing and keep relatively hydrated. My hamstrings are really tight. Actually, let's torture myself some more. I'm going to do some foam rolling too, just to get on certain parts of my lower body, like my left IT bands. A year and a half ago, I had a knee injury, a Baker's cyst, so I need to really stretch that out in my lower back. So I'm gonna angle myself a little bit forward so I can get into the left side, especially in the lower back. Adjust my belt. Actually, I might move across the floor and horse stance with the resistance bands just to get some of that. So I've got some green resistance bands around my ankles. I want to do that slowly as possible with control. Start from the other corner. So the pole is usually the first thing taught in any martial art, except for the Filipino martial arts that usually start off with sticks and knives. Hey, Dirty Beanbag, how's it going? I'm just going to be going over, I did some pole. I'm going to do some sword, a couple things with the nunchaku, and also spear, even though this is a shovel, spear and shield. This is a buckler, so kind of approximates some of the Okinawan weapons, because lately I have been doing Kobudo, the martial arts school that I originally trained in. The head instructor passed away, and all the senior belts, all the black belts, just stopped practicing, so I gotta keep up my practice. Yeah, I'm glad to finally connect. So I'll do the pole form one more time, even though Dirty Beanbag's been doing Kung Fu for years in weaponry, so it's nothing he hasn't seen before. Yeah, and I was actually going to go to another school today that did something similar, that did punches and kicks, but also did joint locks and throws. I got a few emails from the instructor. Now let me spell things properly. And it's kind of similar. Shirinji Kempo and Kuksul are pretty similar to Hapkido and similar to, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. They're hybrid arts, so they combine the hard style stuff, blocking, punching, kicking, with the soft style arts like throwing, break, falling, joint locks, pressure points, and all that. So I was hoping to hear back from him, but I'm not going to go if because he didn't even give me the location of the school. I'm really hoping that, uh, well, with everything in Canada, the economy kind of going bad, a fair amount of martial arts schools have shut down. So I'm hoping that school didn't meet the same fate. Actually, I'll just go straight into sword. Goal was pretty simple. So this is a Korean sword style. I also do Japanese style sword, but I'm gonna do the Korean one because it's spinnier and flashier and stuff. My Japanese style is fairly linear, like dueling. So the Korean stuff's a little more fun to watch. I'm not gonna say Hollywood. Yeah, learning how to break fall is really useful, especially up here in Canada where the streets are still kind of slippery due to the ice and snow. And it's just good to be able to take a break fall. It massages your internal organs. So rolling, actually, that's a good idea. I'll just do a little bit of rolling like a ball from Pilates, because I did roll just with my foam roller, but so a caveat, whenever you're rolling, tuck your chin in so that you don't bang the back of your head. Like I said, this is a good massage for the organs. So a lot of martial arts practices have multiple purposes. Some of them are healing. So when we're hitting our pressure points, those can also have a good effect on the body. It's kind of like doing a weird yoga pretzeling thing, holding it while you're breathing, circulating your oxygen and blood into a certain area, and then releasing it. The same thing with those pressure points, blocking the energy and then letting it flow again. So tucking the chin in, we're going to roll like a ball from Pilates, and this is a kind of a foundational exercise for rolling. And you might want to exhale when you're rolling back. With control. If you don't feel safe doing that, put a mat down or a towel or something to cushion your roll. And it's really good for the lower back. Your body is only as healthy as your lower back is flexible, so this is also a good measure of that. It's a good diagnostic to see what your body can do. A couple times. Exhaling when you have your feet up in the air one more time. And then normally from that roll, you do a recovery from the floor. Yeah, and sometimes it's a bunch of classes that you want to take, but they're going at the same time, and you have to pick and choose. With my weird work schedule, I'd probably be able to go to the Shirinji Kempo school. I think it was supposed to be Tuesday nights, so I'd be able to go one Tuesday. I'd have to skip out the next Tuesday because I'd be working too late, and then only being able to go twice a month. But I'm a quick learner, so that wouldn't have been much of an obstacle. So now we're going to put a sword in our hands. So normally the sword would have a scabbard, so the way I'm gripping it, you can kind of see there's a divot here. So this is where the sword guard would be, or at least where the handle would be thicker So the handle and sheath meet together would be smooth. And since we're spinning, we want to grip half the handle and half the sheath so the sheath doesn't go flying off during spinning, which is something we do at the beginning. We kind of do this X block thing, lift the sword up, and then 1, 2, 3, spin. And I think I'm going to adjust my camera so you can see that spin stuff. Not these spins, but spin. These spin, not these spins. Kind of a X block type thingy. Bring that sword up. 1, 2, 3. And originally when you start, your sword might be really wonky, but ideally you want it to be as smooth as possible on the horizontal and vertical. 1, 2, 3, going back, crouching down, unsheathing it, placing the sheath down, coming up. And in Korean sword, this one style of Korean sword, we grip like a kind of like a baseball. In Japanese sword, we kind of add a little more distance between the hands and grip like this. But in the Korean one, when we're doing spinning and stuff, choking up on it more. So we just finished drawing it up, down, forward, down, cut to the side, spinning, and guiding the sword to the rear. So this is a rearward stab. And we have to spin it once to get that momentum going, as opposed to just straight backwards. Guiding it in, stabbing to the rear, and then coming up, chop, chop, spin around, high cut there, spin around, high cut to the other side, crouching, low cut, crouching to the other side, and chopping at the ankle, coming up to a guarding posture, left hand on hip, figure eight deflection, so what that looks like from the front, figure eight deflection, and then we're stepping forward, stab or poke, turn around, do that on the other side, figure eight deflection. Here, from this point, we're looking forward. We do a spin, chop, chop, do another spin. So we've got the edge of the sword pointing up. I'm taking my instep and kicking the sword. So someone in front of me, I'm cutting up using the assistance of the leg to sever them from stem to stern, as it were, up the center of the body. Chop, chop. And here, the Zorro cut. Poke, chop, turning around, chopping the other way. And here, hold this posture. So the other ones I was bracing the sword tip like this, but this one I'm looking over top the fingertips before I do a forward thrust. From here, spin, spin, chop, chop, spin, spin, turn the blade over, cut, spin, 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 and I'm bringing the sword back behind me to deflect something. Chop, chop, spin, spin, chop, chop, pressing the blade. So pressing the ridge, but pushing the blade forward against something to clash with them. clash, chop, chop, spinning around, clash high, clash low. From here, thrusting, we're going to jump. So normally we're low to the ground from here, jump, and chop down, chop, chop, thrust, jump. Here, from here, we're going to stand up, thrust to the side, helicopter spin. Then we're going to bring the sword up to our hands and we're inspecting the blade. Make sure there's no damage to it. Spin, chop, chop, or sorry, the other way around. Spin, chop, chop. Picking up the scabbard where it was, resheathing the sword. And that's it. As you get older, harder to do those crouching postures, but it's still good practice. Just gonna grab another drink, really dry here and hot. Thanks. Yeah, it's kind of neat doing much. And also, I've seen that Zorro pattern in two separate martial arts, so I know it's something. One of them, the person is, you've just knocked somebody to the ground, and you're doing that Zorro pattern across, back, and down. And this one, it's more across, back, and down, cutting across the shoulders, across the belly, and then down one of the thighs. I know it's kind of gruesome, but that's the application behind it. Is that Zorro cut? Zorro was a character from a TV show based in old U.S. California back before it was the full United States. Yeah, and I need all kinds of extra things like the resistance band. And my friend here, the foam roller, this is my friend lately too, just because I am getting up there, 55. So I need to stretch out and use all these doodads that I never did before. Okay, so now I am going to go into Okinawan Kobudo mode, and that I've been learning. Well, some people have promoted themselves even at 40. I know I've seen online some people like, I'm Grandmaster such and such, and they even buy a belt and gets a bunch of embroidery done on their belts and flashy uniforms and claim grand mastery of things. And you just shake my head, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go do some Kobudo, some of the lesser known martial arts. I was in Chinatown the other day and I saw a tonfa. So it's like a wooden handle and it's got a side handle on it. And the tonfa were, so their cross section, instead of being round, it was square. So it was a square set of tonfa with a round handle on it for about $95 Canadian in Chinatown, which, considering, I mean, it's not too bad. I don't have to pay shipping and handling, especially once these US tariffs come through. So I think once I've gotten a fair amount of practice in with the nunchaku and the spear and shield, at some point I might pick up that paratonfa from Chinatown and get practicing with that too. I never really started into weaponry until I was like in my 40s, starting off with sword and then doing a bunch of different pole arts. So whereas Filipino martial arts, if any of you folks go to a Filipino school, they actually generally train in the weapons first, like the stick and knife, and then eventually work into, they go the other way around. They start off with weaponry and then eventually get into empty-handed applications because they want to drill certain patterns with the weapons in your hands and then adapting that. It isn't really that much of a change because they're using the same patterns empty-handed and that you were doing with your weapons. Yeah. I'm gonna open up the window. It's really warm now. Thankfully, it's not snowy and it is slippery still outside, but it's not that warm. Whew. Here we go, nunchaku. Now, granted, I don't know any forms on these weapons because I've just been starting out doing their foundational techniques, and I'm not too sure if I'm gonna end up doing their because I want Jesse to get the business, so I'm not likely gonna do their kata or their prearranged forms. I'm just gonna do individual techniques, and anyone who wants to do the kata can go to Jesse's website and enroll in the course. I highly suggest it. Because there are a few karate and kobudo schools here. There's like 2 or 3, but I would have to spend 4 or 5 years doing their karate before they let me do their weaponry, whereas I'm just really not interested in that. And some of them, they just do the major weapons, the pole, the nunchaku, the tonfa, the side, like the farming forks, and a few of those, but they don't do any of these more esoteric things like spear and shield. So here we go. Let's do our thing. Yeah, it's the funny thing. They claim grand mastery, and it's like, okay, let's see your stuff. Like, I'm putting myself out here, posting videos to YouTube and Twitch, and I asked to see their stuff, and magically, no, they're all full of, oh, you're really mechanical, oh, really sloppy technique, but they never give me a chance to critique their work, which is really comical. But that's fine and dandy. Grandmaster away. So we're going to spin around the nunchaku a bit, courtesy of Jesse, Karate by Jesse Enkamp in Sweden. With my crappy foam nunchaku. I prefer wooden ones, but because they have a little more weight. But I'm not going to be Bruce Lee by any means. I'm like 45 years too late for that, or so, maybe even 50 more. So we're just watching Jesse do his little intro. So Doing the diagonal spin, kind of like what I was doing with the pole. So some of the skills are translatable. The empty hand that's not being used, oops, is off to the side so you don't bash your hands. I know I've seen that before in Filipino stick fighting. The non-weapon hand is out of the way so you don't bash your fingertips or whatnot. So skipping the other way, and we want the nunchaku to at least be covering the center line, not just off to the side, because part of that swinging thing is to cover. Switching to the other side. Helicopter spin, like when I was using the pole and the sword, we've done the helicopter spin. So usually when we're boom, and then we do that switch. So stop and then switch, which was something new that I didn't do before. So glad to learn that. And then catching like that's kind of new to me, catching it on the side of your body. And ideally, you want to kind of catch it towards the midsection and then pull it into place. These different postures, and then ideally you want to switch to the other side, but I'm not going to switch to the other side. It's good enough for me. Next time, if you're particularly weak on your right hand, though, it's a good idea to practice on your left side 2 or 3 times more than your right, just so you develop symmetry with your body. So put those away. Get ready with the Sir Rochin and Tenvei, the spear and shield. Yeah, no yoga today, Bara, but thanks for joining us. Well, I did actually, and actually that's a good idea because I said I was going to do the sun salutation B, and then we'll get into the spear and shield. So I'll do the sun salutation B because yoga is a good warm up. Thank you for the reminder, and thanks for coming in and joining, Bara. I hope you enjoy what you see. Do you train in anything yourself, my friend? So sun salutation B, a little bit different than sun salutation A that I did. Inhale, gaze up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Body's kind of at 90 degrees. From here, we're going to bend at the knees and sit into chair pose, which is kind of like horse stance, only a bit of your butt sticking out. From there, exhale into high plank. And slowly with control, elbows rubbing against the ribs, feet flatten out. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Hold that for a bit just because I need that lower back flexibility. I bent it the other way when I was doing the rolling like a dog, then slowly curling into downward dog. From here, we'll bring the feet together, pendulum kick, knee kick, land the front leg, land the back leg, So if you're a little tight, you might want to bring that warrior up a little bit. But once you get a little more flexibility, and you can either walk the tightrope on this, or you can open up a little bit. Hands are up, breathing, then exhale, hands to the ground, going on the ball of the back foot. Take that on the other side, finding your base, and then raising. Hands plant, ball of the back foot, feet meet together. We'll hold our downward dog for a little bit. Looking forward, hop, skip, or jump. I'm going to pulse my legs. You can either hop, skip, or walk your hands to your feet with control. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend at the knees, and we'll do that chair pose again. Breathing. Don't stop breathing. Don't hold your breath. And rising up. Finishing off our sun salutation B. Yeah, so you can watch, Twitch will hold on to this video for about 7 days. So you've got 6 or 7 days to watch through again. And you can just do individual things and then eventually join them all together. So now we're going to do the Okinawan short spear and shield, the Rochin and Tinbei. I think it's a good idea. I think it's the best thing since peanut butter and jam to mix yoga and martial arts, because I came from martial arts background in the 80s, and back then they were doing these really weird bouncing, stretching things, and I don't think their stretches were long enough, and I think they weren't exactly informed by medical science, so a lot of people ended up getting injured doing these stretching things that they advocated in the 70s and 80s. So that's one thing that kinesiology and post-secondary science, bioscience, has really helped out by informing on better methods of warming the body up and getting ready for action. Here we go. We're going to do the Rochin and Tinbei now. The spear and shield. The Rochin is the spear. Sometimes they use like a machete or something that looks like the butterfly sword, and then the Tinbei is the originally shaped like, or even originally a tortoise shell. So it wasn't round, it was rather oblong. And they fixed a handle onto it to use it like a shield. So that's the historical or basis for this particular weapons combination. Starting with the spear down, kind of like this opening with an angle. And that should cover the full forearm, just like the tonfa. You're gripping like this and gripping the shaft like that. So the first one is an upward block. Having an angle to the upward block, otherwise you're just absorbing most of the damage. And then downward block. So a lot of these have empty hand analogies as well. Outward block, covering the line of the shoulder, turning that over and blocking to the other side, and then thrusting with the non-bladed part, switching the grip. Switch the grip is later. Switching the grip now, and then crouching and thrusting forward. And you see this, without the weapons, you've seen this in different martial arts as well, this upper block and punch, or upper block and knuckle drag. Stepping back, lower block with the spear. Using the other side now, lower block, upper block, lower block, with shield at the side, doing that switch, and upper block and thrust. Stepping back from here, this is a throwing motion. You can step forward and throw the spear, because sometimes it was actually this size. It's a short spear, so that they would have another one tucked in the back of the belt. So throw that one, then you pull the other one out from your back, and you're ready to go again. And Tinbei and Rochin, short spear, and shield. Whew. So I'm just going to put some things off to the side, and I'm going to find someone to raid and have another drink, because I'm really thirsty. Sometimes your belt gets all unfurled when you're moving around doing all these actions. Oh. See who else out there is doing fitness and health. And you can always close off by meditating or lying down in yoga corpse pose, just to calm your body down. Now, it looks like a bunch of people are doing weightlifting and gym stuff. Somebody's doing some climbing. Yeah, I think we're gonna go Coach Sam Chang. We're gonna go raid him. He's got a Korean flag, so I don't know if he does martial arts, but probably just more that he has Korean roots. He's got the American flag there too, along with the Korean flag. So we'll go raid Coach Sam Chang. Roll the shoulders out a little bit. Thanks everybody for joining me. If you're not much into the martial arts, you can always do the yoga parts. I was doing the sun salutations. And if you're not much into yoga, you can try out the martial arts stuff by all means. We're going to go raid Coach Sam Chang now. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again in another couple days, depending on my work schedule.